This is a big one. Literally. Well, not really. It's big in scale, but it's small in stature. It's the middle sibling of three new subwoofers from Monitor Audio's new Anthra series. There's the W10, the W12 in this review, and the W15. And they're subwoofers for people that value good looks as much as they do deep bass. This is one of the better looking subwoofers that I've gotten my hands on, as far as medium-sized black boxes go. With the circular grille on, it's kind of just like every other subwoofer that you see. But take that grille off. If you appreciate subtleties, that new C-Cam driver is a thing of beauty, and I can't get enough of it. It makes me wonder if Monitor Audio will do an all-black version of their black gloss Silver Series speaker to match this beautiful driver on the subwoofer, because it's something to behold. It's a larger C-Cam that's similar in appearance to the other mid-bass drivers in the Silver Series, speakers that I dearly love. It has the same dimples that aid in velocity, and the cabinet itself is made from thick MDF. Around the back, you get a 2-inch full-color LCD and a rotary dial to allow for basic subwoofer setup and EQ selection. There's volume, low-pass filter, service options, and EQ presets. The EQ gives you music, movies, and impact, plus a tree of custom settings that you can configure on your own. You can set up advanced features including DSP configuration and multi-sub connectivity on the Maestro Unite app. The W12 can be used on its own or linked up with up to 3 other subwoofers. Dude, that's heaven. It's available in gloss black and satin white finishes. I wish there was like a satin or matte version as well, just because this does reflect the screen depending on where you have it placed, and having it disappear in a dark room would be really beneficial. The sub, while being on the large side, is fairly easy to get unboxed. It's actually packaged upside down, so once you open the box, you just flip it over, lift up the box, and ta-da, it's open. And then once you remove the styrofoam, it's just a matter of getting it into place. I found it fairly easy myself, but should it be too heavy for you, just get a partner and lift it into place. For my purposes, I put it in the same corner that I placed other subs in my fairly large but open-ended on one side room. And that room's untreated, but I found that placement in the corner to be the best placement for sound in the past, so that's where I placed this subwoofer. Once it's in place, getting it actually set up is fairly easy too. You pair the sub to your phone via Bluetooth and then get it set up to your local network. Once it's on your local network, you can configure the sub to your heart's content, and you can also get over-the-air firmware updates. I used this subwoofer alongside some amazing speaker packages. I used it with the Aperion Audio Theatris Cinema line. I used it with the Quad Ravellas, though this was a bit of a Frankenstein setup, but if I'm being honest, one of my favorite cinema packages I've ever put together. It consisted of the Quad Ravella 2s, their short floor standers as left and right, the Quad Ravella 1s, their bookshelves as the side surrounds, and for the center speaker, I used, get ready for it, the B&W 607 S3, their smaller bookshelf speaker, and I used the other 607 as the rear surround. Amplification was the Rotel 1592 Mark II, powering the left and right, and the main receiver was the Marantz Cinema 70. Other speaker packages I used was another Frankenstein system, the B&W 606, the larger bookshelf speakers, again with the 607s split, one as the center, one as the rear, and then the Q Acoustics 3020Is as my side surrounds. All 3 of these speaker packages kicked so much ass, and I love them to death. Associated equipment was the aforementioned Marantz Cinema 70, Rotel 1592 Mark II, Arkham A25 amplifier paired with ST5 streamer, the Cambridge Audio CXA81, and the Evo 150 streaming integrated amplifier. I mentioned a lot of integrated amplifiers off the top, but most of them didn't have any bass management on board, so it didn't really change the relationship of the subwoofer to the amplifiers. It was more so with the speaker packages that I had them connected to, where I had to adjust the crossover in relation to the size of those speaker packages, and that made the biggest difference. This sub is rated to go low. like really low, like 16 hertz low. And word is that all the subs in Modern Audio's Anthra range are rated to go down to a similar depth. Now, these are optimum ratings, and I don't know in the real world what they actually produce, and my room wasn't treated, so take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But I'm inclined to believe Modern Audio because in my usage, all the bass was not just heard but felt. Playing Prey, the best of all the Predator sequels, this sub pressurized my room really well, and all the hard-hitting and killing scenes didn't just sound hard-hitting, but they felt hard-hitting, and this sub made that movie sound huge. And because I'm a bass hand and a bit of a moron, the bass setting on the subwoofer being well integrated into my speaker packages was great, but if I just slide up the bass and just like plump that bass a little bit, I was able to get the walls rattle. And then I could just back off a little bit just so the rattling stopped, but the bass was extra plumped. And if you like that big wall rattling bass, this sub is capable of doing that, but it does, of course, sound better when it's properly integrated into your speaker package setup and doesn't overly dominate things. This subwoofer, alongside my Frankenstein Quadrivella speaker package, was phenomenal, especially when playing Sisu. If you haven't seen Sisu, it's like John Wick, except he's killing Nazis, and it's not a spoiler, just go watch the movie, it's pretty amazing. But there's a scene where a tank fires around, and I felt it in my guts. It was huge, and a really great experience as well. It played similarly well with the B&W 606 speaker package that I had in place, though I did back down the volume on the subwoofer a little bit, and I set the crossover a little bit higher just to compensate for that reduction in bass coming from those speakers. This sub, being a sealed box design, makes it a perfect partner for music, and I found that to be the case. It easily took center stage in my setup. It's fast and taut, meaning it stops and starts on a dime, and this is beneficial for the type of music that I listen to. It also has 1,000 watts of power on hand, which means it seemingly has limitless power, and it can easily keep up with my unreasonable demands. One of my favorite setups was with the Arkham stack paired with the Revela 1 bookshelves with the sub sat dead center between them. But I actually like the Revela 2 short floor standers better because I felt like those speakers better integrated with the subwoofer. And I liked it so much that that setup became a semi-permanent setup upstairs in my living room, which is a better looking setup and also a better sounding room. At the time of this review, one of my favorite tracks was Zara from Joe York, and while not being a bass focused tune, there was enough bass there for this sub to play along and fill in that lower registers and make this track feel bigger overall. A track perfect for testing out the quickness of this subwoofer was Psychosis from Alex Perez. I mean, the Revela 2s paired with this sub just smashed out this track and just sounded amazing. Also, playing this track back in multi-channel mode via the Marantz Cinema 70 and the Rotel 1592 on the Aperion Audio Theatris Cinema package, just, if you want to talk about immersion of a song, like, put those speakers into multi-channel mode and just fire up this track, and it is amazing. Another track was Cabal from the late great Marcus Intellects. I mean, this tune is just huge, and there's a lot of variance in bass, and it makes me feel like the subwoofer's working overtime to reproduce all the bass in it, but, you know, it's not, but just huge sounding, and it's a perfect bass test track for any subwoofer, I feel. So this sub is pretty amazing, and if you value good looks as much as you do deep bass, then this is a sub you want to add to your list. It's on mine now because I had to send it back.